I have a selection of compact multi-tools here, 2 from Gerber, 1 from Leatherman, and 1 from Rocktol, which is a new one to me. So the background of this is I was talking about Swiss Army knives a few weeks ago, and I'm looking for a decent little multi-tool for my 2 boys. And I stumbled across these 2 from Gerber, reached out to Gerber, and they sent me 2 samples. So I have the Armbar Drive and the Armbar Trade. Both of them, a lot in common, very few differences. So I wanted to talk about those. I'd been eyeing these for a while, so I was interested in them. They have a lot of things going on for them that I think are nice. Then I have my Leatherman CX, Leatherman Skeletool CX, slightly different category than the other ones that I'm talking about. Then I have the Rocktol ST02, so it's I think they say it has 12 different tools in it. Still in the category of a compact multi-tool. This one I picked up because if you start to go down the multi-tool rabbit hole right now, the Rocktol ones pop up quite a bit because they're a good budget option and some pretty good features, I think. Just go over the main things that I'm looking for. 1 is a decent blade. 2 is a screwdriver with an exchangeable bit, so something that you can change have basically almost any screwdriver bit with you. And then 3, any other feature that could be useful. So I think scissors are a really good feature, saws are a great feature, and then obviously pliers are a great feature too. I do have a full-size Leatherman. This is over 20 years old, but I think this is a totally different category. This is just not something that I'm inclined to put in my pocket. They're very hefty, so I either have this just in my car all the time, or if I'm out on doing something specific where I know I need something a little bit more beefy, it might be that. But these are, in my mind, 4 options, and there's others out there that are pretty pocketable. The Gerber Armbar sort of series popped out at me just because they look fairly compact and have a few really interesting things going for them. First of all, like I said, very compact, very minimal. So they're not throwing in a bunch of tools that just bog the whole thing down. This is a very compact little unit. This one weighs 91 grams or 3.25 ounces. This is the Armbar Drive. This is the Armbar Trade. It comes in at 3.4 ounces, 97 grams. So just a tiny bit heavier. It does have a pocket clip. The main sort of features are the same between the 2. So kind of a modified or a sheep's foot blade. It has, I don't know if you'd call this a frame lock or a liner lock, but it does have the lock that you need to press to close that blade up. So that's just there. So nice locking blade, which is the same on all of them. So they all have that feature. This comes out as a nice compact little tool with that locking blade. Then the other part is a very long screwdriver with a reversible bit that it comes with, and it's magnetic. So I like that. Just comes with a Phillips and a flathead. I'm not sure which Phillips. I'm guessing it's a Phillips. It's either a number 1 or number 2. It might be a number 1, which is unfortunate in a way. And then the other part of this model is a pretty decent pair of scissors. So 3 main tools: the knife, the scissors, and the screwdriver. And then it does have this kind of bottle opener / pry thing, and it says something about like a hammer. I don't know about that. But very compact, very minimal. The difference with this one, this is the Armbar Trade. It doesn't have the scissors. It does have a pretty good little saw. I tried that out on a stick, pretty good. No complaints there. Same type of screwdriver, same kind of blade, same locking blade, identical. Nice little, let's call it a sheep's foot blade locking, and it does also have a pocket clip. So those are the main features of the Gerber models that I have. Next up is the Leatherman Skeletool CX. This I've been using for about a year, so it's got a pretty decent amount of use on it. Nice blade with that sort of frame lock or liner lock, whatever you want to call it. Then screwdriver with an exchangeable bit with proprietary bits. So you can only use Leatherman bits on this tool, and they're reversible. You can buy others. I have multiple of these bits, and depending on what I'm doing, I might pack this with me. I have 2 others, so I have pretty big selection of Leatherman bits. And then obviously also a pretty nice compact set of pliers with wire cutters, so that really sets it apart. It does have a kind of built-in carabiner that can work as a bottle opener also, and a feature that I like about it is that it has a spare, hidden away on the side, it has a spare bit compartment, which means that unlike the other ones that I'm talking about, you can easily, with this tool, have 4 different screwdriver bits. So on other trips when I'm out, I kind of tailor the bits that I have with me depending on my equipment. So I might make sure that I have the T15 and T20 because those are often on my ski touring bindings, the posit drive, number 2 posit drive, which is a pretty big posit drive. So that little feature where you can bring everything with you and have some extra screwdriver bits and some more unusual ones. They have Torx, they have Hex, they have Phillips, Robertson, a whole bunch of flathead screwdriver bits also. I'm pretty familiar with Leatherman tools, so I've had this one, like I said, for almost 20 years, and there's a reliability and a quality aspect there. I'll go over kind of what I do like and dislike about them all after. So the Rocktol. So Rocktol is totally new to me. It comes in as more of a budget option. I'll talk about the prices and stuff too, but it does have a nice shaped blade. Also has that kind of liner lock. It has a pretty impressive set of scissors with a very strong spring, big scissors, also locking, so they have that kind of liner or frame lock, whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna say it, well, I'll get into kind of one of the details about these after, but you know, it looks good overall for that. Then you have multiple tools on the back side, so on all 2 flathead screwdrivers, so a fairly large flathead and quite a small flathead, and then your standard kind of bottle opener, but also with a wire stripper. The nice thing about all of those backside tools on this side here, they have a full locking mechanism. So those are locked when they're out, even though, you know, I don't know how important that is for those tools, but it's there. I appreciate that. And then on this side, we have an exchangeable bit driver. This one comes with a 2-sided bit, so a number 1 Phillips and a fairly small flathead screwdriver. These are the kind that use the ball detent, sort of just a friction fit in there for retention. It's quite good how it is, but if you take something that's that doesn't have that friction fit, you know, it'll just, this one actually goes in quite far, but it'll fall out. So, you know, that's a little bit of a different story, and a lot of people mention that. So you have that, you have the pocket clip. So quite a pretty well-rounded tool. Impressed me in terms of just when I opened it out of the box, you know, it doesn't feel like at first glance a super budget option. It really does feel on par with the Leatherman and the Gerber. Price range is much closer to the Gerber. I think you can get these on Amazon for 20 bucks. In Canada, they're more like 40 Canadian, around that. So overall, some observations about these one, you know, just my thoughts on all of them. First of all, I'm just gonna say it, in one way, my favorites are the Gerbers. just because they're so compact, so minimal, so simple. It just has kind of what I need or what could be useful in your day-to-day life. Nice blade, screwdriver, scissors on this model. Oh, I forgot to mention, they do have an awl hidden away in there. So kind of tricky to get out, but there is an awl in there. Forgot to mention that, little awl hidden in there. The main thing about these two models is that all of the tools, except for the knife, are non-locking. And I've seen the reviews, I've seen people talk about them, that if you're using the screwdriver, it can just kind of collapse on you. I screwed in a full-size construction, like a 2-inch construction screw with a Robertson bit, and it didn't collapse on me. I think if you're able to apply straight pressure, it won't suddenly collapse on you. If you're doing some funny stuff, it might, but having that reach is very nice. It's fairly centered, and having that magnetic bit, the magnetic holder in there, there's definitely a magnet in there. The retention's pretty good. It means that any 1/4-inch hex, you're good to go. Between these two, I like just how compact this one is. I like also having a saw. I find the pocket clip on these are in kind of an awkward position. It makes them very wide. It's not a small knife though. Having that on the sort of the side of your pants, it's not the end of the world. It's not as bad as this one, which I'll talk about. But overall, they were fairly sharp out of the box. I'm sure they can cut paper. Yep, they're pretty good. Nothing crazy there. Obviously, Gerber knives are kind of famous for having mystery steel. So that's where the budget side of thing comes in a little bit. But the overall build I found pretty good. The lock is good. They feel solid. There's not really much play in the knife. Not a bad little unit. I think they run at about $40. In Canada, they're $45, $50, some for $40. You can probably get them on sales. But nice shaped blade, magnet, extended screwdriver. The downside, I guess, is the steel quality, but you can get a nice edge on there. Will it be the longest or have the best retention? Probably not. It's not a bad price, but it's a little on the expensive side at the $50 mark, especially when you have more budget options out there and those non-locking tools. All right, Leatherman. So Leatherman is definitely the most premium out of the three that I have. Just off the bat, it's not mystery steel, it's 154 cm. I have several knives that are 154 cm. I like that. I like the blade shape that has a little bit of that belly to it. I've had some older versions of, like even this one, this older design, this very flat, I've never really liked that shape on this one. It's not a bad knife, but 154 cm, got a little bit of that belly to it. It's almost a sheep's foot. Very, very, very precise feeling build. It's got a nice smooth feel to it. There's zero wobble. It looks like there's some brass bushings in there. So it's just got a great feel to it. Really nothing much to say about it. I've had these Leatherman style pliers for years in different models. A Juice, the Leatherman. That's an old Charge. I like the pliers. I think they're good quality. And having a tool like this where you have a blade, a screwdriver, and pliers, it means that you can solve a lot of problems with this little tool. The issue I had with it when I first got it is that it is getting on the bulkier and heavier side. It weighs in at 144 grams or 5.1 ounces. So it's not light. But what I realized about this is this clip actually hangs off the side of if I put it in my pockets and just kind of clip the edge of my pocket with it, it doesn't hang in the bottom of my pants pocket, and I don't feel it at all, even though it's the heaviest out of the three. it really just disappears, and the retention's pretty good. It means it's always at hand. I've carried this one around a lot this year and bring it out on most of my ski touring trips because I like to have that tool function, pliers. You can solve a lot of problems with this, and then you can just match it up with different bits and have a pretty impressive little tool set with you. Definitely, in my mind, the highest quality out of the three because of that steel, the curved blade, the pliers. It's compact. You always have two bits on you. Downside is, yeah, it's pretty heavy. Definitely more expensive. In Canada, it retails for $125, so you're getting up there, definitely twice the price of these, and could be more than twice the price of one of these Rocktools. Now, Rocktol does make pliers also, but they're I wouldn't call them compact. And then another problem with this is that the bits are proprietary. It's not cheap to outfit yourself with a bunch of bits, but the bits have great retention. I've never had any issues with them, and it's not going to collapse on you because whether it's locking screwdriver or not, it's in there. You got quite a bit of reach. You can sort of choke down on it. You can, I've never had a problem with these. So the Skeletool CX, it's a good little tool. So last is the Rocktol, which is the newest one to me, the most budget. Some thoughts on this. I think it's 7CR. It has a blade steel that is described, at least. We know what it is. It's 7CR17, I think, which is kind of like, my understanding is Chinese 440. So pretty decent size blade. Out of the three, it's definitely bigger than the Leatherman. Got not a bad profile to it. I think, honestly, my favorite is the Gerber shape in terms of the blade. Obviously, the downside is that the steel is mystery steel, but it has a good size blade on it. I'll put up this, the measurement of all three, but good size blade on it, a locking blade. The thing that I noticed about this right away is that you've got some pretty serious play in there from my point of view. Is that going to really affect how it works? I don't know. There's no bushings, so there's quite a bit of play there. It just tells you that the quality is a little bit obviously below Leatherman. The scissors, what was happening to me is that when I got it, the scissor in terms of size is phenomenal and how much it opens and the spring mechanism. But what was happening was this little spring arm, as I was using it, would pop over and out. And what I did was just filed a tiny bit off of that arm here and a tiny bit off of one of the blade sides, just so that they kind of meshed with an angle that keeps it on the right side of the blade. It still does every now and then pop over, but it's quite rare. It was just such a minor adjustment. So that's one thing. Definitely a bit of a quality issue there, but the scissors are locking, which is nice. All of the tools are locking, which is nice. Am I going to use these flathead screwdrivers, considering it has flathead screwdriver here? That's a little bit of my comment, is why not, if you've got a multi-bit screwdriver, why not put some other tools that are completely different? I guess it's just a cost-saving things. It's easy to make flathead screwdrivers, but it comes with the flathead and the Phillips. That's it. And if you want other bits, you can order them from Rocktol on Amazon. And they have a little selection. Actually, not a bad selection, but these ball detent mechanism bits are rare. I don't have any of these, so it means that I can't just say, you know what, I'll assemble a little selection of bits to store with this, because I don't have them, so I'd have to go out and buy them. So I've already invested in Leatherman proprietary bits. And then I have all kinds of 1/4" hex bits all over the place, which means that this is kind of a no-brainer, and this is a bit of a problem. So here I just have some other bits lying around, but if you put something in here, you know, it just, they fall out. So you can't realistically use other bits unless you started to mod this somehow and maybe glued a magnet in there and then made it compatible or just magnetic. So that's the big drawback to me, is that you have a bit driver, but you're kind of stuck with those ball detent bits. I think they used to be more common, but from what I can tell, everything's magnetic. So good size knife. I mean, if I'm gonna look at this, you know, these from, look at them all, this one has the most tools. I think they say it has 12 tools versus 3 or whatever you really want to call it on here, 3, maybe 4 if you add in sort of the bottle openers, and maybe 5 even, the all. So this one apparently has 12. Very good price, especially if you're in the US. They sell off of Amazon, so I'll link that, but they sell off of Amazon. Impressive tool set, and quality is not bad for the price. You know the steel, it has those big scissors, also, you know, a nice feature, nice knife. Downsides, definitely not as precise. That blade wobble kind of bugs me. The ball detent on the bits, bit of a problem in my mind. That redundancy, the fact that you have all of these flathead screwdrivers with you. I don't know about you guys, but I basically never use flathead screws. It's either Phillips, or in Canada here, we use Robertson bits and Robertson screws, and they're the best. And it's pretty heavy and bulky for what it is. You're getting into a weight that's comparable to something that has pliers. So this one comes in at 122 grams, 4.3 ounces. So pretty much just under, this one's just under an ounce heavier, and you get those pliers. Whereas this one has all of those kind of, like I said, redundancy. It has the pocket clip, but the pocket clip is on the width. So I would never put this in my pocket clipped this way. It's just not the natural, it disappears into your pocket better on the side, on the sort of narrower side. So kind of strange in my mind. I feel like the pocket clip is also, maybe, I can't tell if it's, I'm left-handed, I can't tell if it's the way I would put the pocket clip, but a good little, you know, functional tool, not too expensive. If you're in the market for, and you like something that's a little bit more hefty, and it has quite a few tools, I think this is a good option. From my point of view, for the case that I was looking into, especially for something for my 2 boys, I think the Gerber Armbars are a great option. There's another one called the Armbar Scout that has the scissors and saw, but no screwdriver, and I think the screwdriver is super important. So I really like this compact one that has good set of scissors, you know, half decent scissors, definitely better than those really tiny Swiss Army knife ones, way better than some of the original Leatherman scissors that are really, you know, quite puny. They work really well, but they're pretty puny. So I think this is not a bad little tool, not super cheap, but not breaking the budget in any way. I don't mind the steel. I like sharpening knives, so seems good to me. And then obviously the most premium, but stands out in terms of that size, is the Leatherman Skeletool. But this one has really impressed me this year. I like this knife. I like the blade. I've used it a lot. I've chipped it and then reprofiled it. So it's a very sharp knife. It doesn't really make sense to say how sharp it is because I sharpened it. It was shaving sharp just the other day. So great little knife. This one, probably sharp enough too. Feels like there's more resistance, but it came pretty sharp out of the box. Very functional. So 3 different tools. very different companies. These ones are very available on Amazon. The Leathermans, yeah, they're also through Amazon. I find the Armbars or the Gerbers a bit harder to find. So Gerber has a very big product lineup, and they sent me some others to have a look at also. So there's center drive, full size multi-tool pliers, but they have a huge inventory of tools, and they're a little bit harder to find. To get, you know, if you want a specific one, they're not in all places. Whereas the Rocktol is much more of an online presence. You can get their full offering. It's a fairly limited offering. They have a few plier models and then 1 or 2 knife models. So hope this helps. If you're looking for a knife, those are some different options.